Welcome to Clear the Corner. Clear the Corner is a program brought to you by the Clear Project, and we are committed to making complex issues simple. Today we'd like to encourage you, as in other programs, to please quickly get a pen and a pencil ready for the vital information that we'll be sharing with you this afternoon. If you'd like to reach us and give us feedback about this or upcoming shows, please feel free to give us a call at area code 415-333-3017. Again, that's 415-333-3017. You can also join us by Facebooking us, becoming a member of our online community by Facebooking Sharon Ewart or Clear the Corner. Again, welcome to Clear the Corner. Today is a very, very special day. We're taping today on Friday, Good Friday, and we'd like to share with you some extraordinary news. Those of you in our religious community, you know the significance of this day, and so I am calling out a miracle breakthrough in your life. At the corner of our existence as African Americans has been our spiritual roots. We want to encourage you to find your way back there to something bigger than yourselves. Today we're going to be talking about critical issues facing our community, particularly those baby boomers and aging members of our community. Clear is committed to the whole continuum of the family. We want to also give a shout out to those folks who are experiencing another level of hardship in North Carolina. While we are focusing oftentimes on African Americans, we do want to remind our viewing audience we are part of one family, and that's the human family. A tragedy there impacts us here. We want to continue to encourage you to support the victims of Japan's tsunami. There is still a tremendous need. One of the things we'd like to remind our folks is that we can make a difference. We encourage you to be the change you want to see. We encourage you to reach your humanity. We encourage you to take action. Again, joining us in our studio today is a sister. And I want to tell you, we connected on that Facebook instrument. And we want to say that that Facebook instrument is a powerful tool. It is a powerful, powerful tool. We've seen what Twitter and Facebook has done in terms of mobilizing people on the continent. Tunisia, Egypt, Yemen, Algiers. People are really taking advantage of this extraordinary tool, and we want you to as well. Sister Carolyn and I met. I don't know. I'm the one that puts out the boring stuff about the policy updates and budgets and what's happening in the world. Many of you are putting out content about your individual and social lives and problems. I would ask if that's something that you think helps you and connects you with people, continue. But we also want you to turn your eye to issues of substance and sustainability. And with this tool on Facebook, it's only a couple of pecks of your finger, and we can unite with the world, but certainly we can get engaged with those issues impacting our lives on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, I'd like to just jump right in to introducing my next guest, and her name is Carolyn Brent. And Carolyn Brent is been working in the East Bay, and we're so happy to have her here in San Francisco with us. And now that we've found her, we're not going to let her go, so she's going to be coming back much, much more often. Carolyn, welcome to Clear the Corner. And hi, I just want to say this is a special Good Friday to you, and thank you for joining us here at Clear. Tell us a little bit about what brings you to the show today. What are you doing, and how can our folks get involved?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Sharon, for inviting me. Number one, I'm very honored to be here. Today is a Good Friday, and my father would be so pleased and happy to know that you've invited me here, Dr. William L. Brent. What brings me here is my passion for humanity, especially for seniors and especially for families. I was involved with a situation where the family fell apart when they thought my father was dying, and that's when the family started attacking each other and not coming together as far
Hold on, Sister Carolyn, you just said a mouthful. Now, there's a handsome man next to you. So, obviously, Carolyn, one of the issues you're going to be talking to us today about is extended family support.
Absolutely.
And family care.
Yes.
And what we do with our seniors, because we have no throwaway or expendable people.
Right.
We've been spending a disproportionate amount of time talking about young people.
Right.
And the risk that they're at. And one of the things it is imperative that we do, particularly in terms of shaping public policy and our advocacy, is not pit the interests of our young people, our infants, our developing young people, our adolescents, against our seniors.
Absolutely.
And given the budget crisis, we're seeing that that is in fact an emerging dynamic, and we hear it clear as saying, that it is important that we look at the whole continuum of the family.
Absolutely.
And what the specificity of their needs are for our sustainability. Who's this gentleman with you?
This is my friend, my dear friend, John Sandifer. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have made it this far as my mission with A Caregiver Story.
Okay.
And
John?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your interest in this issue and why you've come to support the work of Carolyn.
Well, I've known Carolyn for about 6 or 7 years. And I guess one of the critical times I met her is when we lost contact for a while, and she called me, and right after we reconnected, her father got into a life-threatening situation, and she called me, and we started talking about it. Well, she'd been caring for her father for years, and on top of her father having a life-threatening situation, then the situation with the family developed, so she had like a two-pronged attack. She was dealing with her father's issues, and then she discovered her family wasn't supporting her. And she was kind of left out there all by herself.
Okay, I want to thank you, John, and thank you for being present. And what I'm hearing from that already is that sometimes we have to create the support systems that are necessary.
absolutely.
And it's okay of how things should be. Coulda, woulda.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's important to be in the now, in the context. And sometimes, and that's why this show is so critically important, sometimes biological family may or may not have the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And we as a village, we as a community, we as a people must start to see and fill in those gaps and be present in substantive ways. So I want to thank you for that. Carol, tell us specifically what your focus is in your work. Tell us your organizational work. Tell us what's happening with our seniors and why you think it's so important that our viewing audience get involved or at least become aware.
Where my focus is to create, first of all, change. And what I mean by change is that if families don't mend together to help each other or have the extended family, our seniors are thrown away, literally. And the reason why I say that, right now I am actually working on a project with a person that's running for senator next year. Her name is Amina Fuller, and we're putting
What's
out
her name?
Amina Fuller.
Amina Fuller. Okay, y'all, this is a new one. Look out for Miss Fuller.
Yes,
and what district? Do you know where she's running from?
31st District, and she's running for State Senate 2012.
Okay, so listen, we're going to go beyond the borders here. When we have a leader that's running, that's committed to our community, we're going to have to start doing like those sophisticated players. We're going to cross these lines.
Absolutely.
We're not going to stay provincial. We're not just going to stay in San Francisco. Wherever there are good people doing good work,
Absolutely.
we're going to go after them.
Yes.
And support them by at least donating to their campaigns, volunteering if possible, but certainly letting our community know who the freedom fighters are.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what are you and Miss Fuller doing?
We are working on a campaign as we speak. It's called The Scary Side of a POA, that people don't know about. And that's what happened to me as being the caregiver of my dad for 12 years. A family member went through the back door filed a restraining order against me so she could get conservatorship over our father. So that right
Hold
there.
it. Now listen, y'all. This is a story that sounds familiar even in the best of us.
Absolutely.
Got a little bit of ching-ching. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And people just lose their mind.
Absolutely.
And here comes the popos in the story. Oh, the plot thickens. Tell us, Carolyn, what happened?
Well, this is what happens. This is what Amina Fuller and I are working on. That if a family member wants to attack and drag the caregiver to court on falsified information, the person that's pulling the person in court has to show at least 3 years of documentation where they have gotten involved in that parent's health or taking them to doctor's appointments.
Okay, I'm going to break this down. This is talking nice.
Okay.
Now, she's saying if you can, for that senior relative, and there's another relative, Betty Boops, out there, and she don't like you, y'all had drama, she want to get in, she think you using up all the money, and that's really what it's about oftentimes.
Absolutely.
And it's not oftentimes tremendous amounts of money.
Right.
But y'all know somebody, hey, listen, I want to hear back on this show. Y'all know somebody going right through this, sitting up in their mama's house,
right,
and doing as best they can. A relative all the way on the other side of the country come and think that it should be done a certain way. Ain't been there.
Absolutely.
Ain't took them to the doctor. Ain't made that food. Ain't had to fuss with them about that bath. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Okay? But they got an opinion. And you know what they say about opinions.
Oh, yeah.
We all got one. And here they go, get in the mix. And now the person who's there day to day has to prove why they're involved.
Absolutely.
Now, listen, this is the kind of stuff we don't like to talk about. All of us got a little something going on in our families.
Right.
But it's time that we bring this to the forefront. We bring this to the open. That we allow for people to understand there are rights. They have rights. And Miss Fuller and Carolyn are working on ensuring that whatever the conditions are,
right,
that people understand what is fundamentally their right.
Absolutely.
And as this aging process going on, I'm up there. I'm getting up there too. And I want to know what's going to happen with me, because there's some relatives I don't want nowhere near me when I can't do them. Yeah, and I love them right now, but I know they ain't going to do right. And I told all my kids, I ain't got no money. I ain't leaving you no money, so let's not even get in there now. If I got any money and the taxes don't take it, I'm giving it to a foundation and y'all can give it out.
Absolutely.
But you ain't going shopping on my dime.
Right.
So this is a very, I'm saying this in jest. And again, if you'd like to hear more about this, please contact Carolyn, and you can do that by calling area code. Wait a minute, we're gonna put her information up, but you can contact her by calling area code 415-333-3017, the Clear Project, and we will facilitate your connections with her, because it really is bigger than what we're going to be able to talk about today.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a new law. Or proposed?
No, we are taking it to actually the state capitol next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are proposing a law that a person cannot go through the back door and get a POA when someone has been caring for a sick elderly parent for years. And what's happening, people are falsifying documentations. I had a restraining order against me in 3 different counties, because she would go to one court, the judge would say, you're crazy, there's nothing here. She'd go to another jurisdiction, do the same thing, and by then, $14,000 later for me, because I would take an attorney with me, I would take the doctors with me, she would drop it, but she ended up getting custody over our father through just using the judicial system. So Ms. Fuller is going to put a stop to the abuse of POAs, and there's an article coming out. It's called Looking in Politics magazine, which a person can get that right online. Is Looking in Politics politicspublicationsweb.com. That's Looking in Politics Web, WEBS.com. Go online and get it, and it's going to release on April 30th, and it's called The Scary Side of POAs that people don't know about.
Carolyn, tell us a little bit about, if you can comfortably, what's going on? Is this caregiving story being expanded? Are people really opting to stay in their traditional family settings as opposed to going to senior homes or assisted living? Tell us a little bit about the landscape, Carolyn.
Thank you. A great question. There's 79 million baby boomers here in the U.S.
79 million, folks.
Baby boomers.
Okay, that's the party crew.
Absolutely. And those are the baby boomers, for clarification, are people born between 1946 and 1964.
That'd be one of me.
Okay. So 30 million of those baby boomers are now caring for their parents. They're caring for their parents.
These OGs are having to care for their parents.
Absolutely.
They are caring for the parents. What a tremendous gift that is, but also a tremendous challenge in our day and time.
Absolutely. And 25% of the 30 million are actually caring for the parent in their own personal home. The parents are living with them. But
now you know what kind of dynamic that's creating up in the house.
Absolutely.
You know what that means. Can't go out. Can't go on vacations.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right. It's not an easy thing, and people have to realize I actually created a Caregivers Appreciation Day because caregivers need to be appreciated. You give your life for the caring of someone else. You literally, your life stops and your life becomes that mother or that father or that person that's dying, and a part of you dies right along with that person. You can't save them, but you try to save them every day.
Carolyn, I can just feel, those in the viewing audience, if you could just feel the sister's passion, it's just bouncing. This is something that we have to start to vet, open up, and talk about in the African American community because it's happening, and oftentimes people just accept this evolving responsibility as a cultural norm.
Right.
Many of us, as a cultural norm, don't want to see our mothers in their 80s and 90s in an institution. We take that responsibility on, oftentimes without the support of our children.
Absolutely.
That age group gets to work, and the kids get to come by and say, "Hi, Mama," and tip. And so here we are, we're having another generation of folks who have gone and raised their kids,
right,
and gotten, a minute of autonomy, and now they're having to take on the increasing responsibility of raising taking care of their parents.
Absolutely. And I want to just make one thing, make it very clear. Assisted living is not free. It starts at, on average, $32,000 a year.
Sister up in here.
$32,000. And if a person becomes really ill and they need 24-hour, starting at $79,000 a year. Now, what 80-year-old is going to have $79,000?
$79,000. That's the ching-ching.
So the bottom line, why should families fight over an inheritance? Because medically, that's where the money's going to go. So that is what my family found out at the last minute. That Dad didn't have any money. I was paying out of pocket to keep our father out of nursing homes, and unfortunately, the person that took me to court, she had to put my father on welfare to pay his bills.
Wow, this is the hand that they get dealt with at the end of their life's game.
Right. That
they're vulnerable oftentimes to relatives who may or may not want them.
Absolutely.
That the system is not adequately prepared to provide enough living situations that allow them to continue to have a quality of life that they're used to.
Absolutely.
And we're not talking about this. Why aren't we talking about this? Why do you think we're not talking about? Why isn't this the topic of the day?
Well, as we discussed earlier, I think it's one of those things, like you said, it's like the dirty little secret. Nobody wants to air their family laundry in public. So we just kind of take the older people and shove them to the side and go on about our lives. And it's like, we just don't want to talk about it. Even though it exists, it's something that we don't talk about.
And I want to thank you for that, because even in our church community, we have a number of seniors. And they get dressed up and they get prompted up and they go to church, and they make the least demands on the system.
Right.
Or they say, "Oh, just keep me in prayer."
Right.
But we don't know what they're dealing with in terms of the inner dynamics of their families, and we have not really done, I think, a good enough job of looking at the quality of our life for our seniors, but more importantly, the pressure.
Right.
That's what you're talking
Right.
about. The pressure of what it means to take care of them.
Absolutely.
We don't openly talk. We don't give the caretakers a day off.
Right.
No.
Absolutely.
We don't have a respite for the caretakers so they can get out of the house. It's almost analogous to a young mother right after she's had delivery. Being in this situation, oftentimes isolated,
Right.
oftentimes not having the option,
Right.
and people, giving kudos for their tremendous work, but not supporting the work.
Absolutely.
Carolyn, you have a book coming out.
Yes, I do. Matter of
Could you
fact,
talk about that a little bit?
yes, thank you. I was directed by God and my father to write a book. It's called Why Wait? With a question mark. The Baby Boomer's Guide to Preparing Emotionally, Financially, Legally, and Medically for the Deaths of Your Parents. Now, the word death is a word that nobody wants to talk about, but we all are going to die. We don't know when the time is going to come, and the book is a guide. It takes you from day one all the way very to the end, so a person could really understand it is a process, it is a journey.